Let's get right into it. Laughter, it's supposed to be the purest expression of joy, right? The universal sign of a good time, a bubbly, life-affirming sound that brings people together. Well, that's a nice story we tell ourselves. But peel back the layers of that cheerful ha ha ha, and you'll find something much darker. Something ancient, primal, and surprisingly aggressive. Your brain has brilliantly disguised a prehistoric act of dominance as a social pleasantry. From the nervous titter that escapes your lips in a painfully awkward meeting, to the full-throated roar when you see a friend trip over absolutely nothing, laughter is one of humanity's most misunderstood and low-key hostile behaviors. Today, we're counting down the ways that your happiest noise is secretly a baring of the teeth. Think about the last time you were truly uncontrollably laughing. Maybe you were being tickled into submission by a loved one. Your body is contorting, you're gasping for air, you're literally begging them to stop, yet you're laughing. What is that? It feels like a weird paradox, a glitch in the human machine where your body signals joy while you're experiencing a mild form of torture. Well, it turns out that's not a glitch. It's a feature, one we inherited from our hairy tree-swinging ancestors. This is where we meet the play face. Primatologists, the people who get paid to watch monkeys all day, notice that chimpanzees and other great apes make a very specific expression during rough and tumble play. They open their mouths, pull back their lips, and show their teeth while making a panting, breathy sound. Oh, sound familiar? It's the chimp equivalent of laughter. But here's the crucial part. They only do it during play fighting. They're wrestling, biting, and smacking each other in ways that would, in any other context, be a real life or death battle. The laughter, that panting, toothy grin, is a constant signal that says, hey, see these giant canine teeth I have? The ones I could use to rip your throat out? I'm not going to. This is all in good fun, so please don't disembowel me. This is the evolutionary root of our own laughter. It's a social safety valve. It evolved as a way to de-escalate potentially dangerous physical contact and turn it into a bonding exercise. By laughing, an early hominid was basically saying, my intentions are not hostile, even though my actions seem aggressive. It's a panic button that signals submission and appeasement. When you're being tickled, your ancient lizard brain is freaking out. It perceives the act as an attack. Someone is pinning you down and targeting vulnerable areas like your belly and neck. The laughter that bursts out isn't pure joy. It's a desperate, pre-programmed plea. It's your body's way of shouting, okay, okay, you win. We're just playing. This is fun and not a prelude to my imminent death. So the next time you laugh so hard you can't breathe, just remember you're channeling your inner chimp, desperately hoping that the tickle monster doesn't suddenly decide to finish the job. There is perhaps no more pure, unadulterated form of humor than watching someone confidently walk face first into a freshly cleaned glass door. The little thump, the moment of stunned confusion, the quiet shame. It's hilarious. But why? Nothing good happened. Someone experienced a moment of pain and public humiliation. We shouldn't be laughing. We should be rushing over to help. And yet, we laugh. We laugh hard. The 17th century philosopher Thomas Hobbes, who was by all accounts a pretty grumpy guy, had a theory about this. He called laughter a sudden glory. It's not about finding something clever or witty. It's about the sudden realization of some eminency in ourselves by comparison with the infirmity of others. In modern, less fancy terms, we laugh because for a brief, glorious moment, we feel superior. This is the entire basis for what's known as the superiority theory of humor. It suggests that all laughter is ultimately an expression of our superiority over others. When your friend trips on a perfectly flat sidewalk, your brain doesn't process empathy first. It runs a lightning-fast calculation. That person has fallen. I am still standing. My balance and situational awareness are, at this exact second, demonstrably better than theirs. Ha! That burst of laughter is a triumphant little roar celebrating your momentary victory in the silent, ongoing competition of not looking like an idiot. This isn't just about physical blunders. It applies to watching someone give a fumbling, awkward presentation, or hearing a politician make a ridiculous gaffe. The laugh is a visceral reaction to witnessing someone else's failure, which in turn highlights our own competence. The entire genre of slapstick comedy, from the Three Stooges to America's funniest home videos, is built on this foundation. These are multi-million dollar industries dedicated to serving up an endless buffet of minor human suffering for our amusement. We're not laughing because a rake to the face is objectively funny. We're laughing because we're not the one getting hit in the face with a rake. It's the sudden glory of being safe in our chair while some other poor soul takes the fall. It's aggression, sanitized and sold back to us as family-friendly entertainment. What's the best kind of joke? The inside joke. It's not even about the content, it's about the context. The conspiratorial glance across a crowded room, the shared stifled snicker that no one else understands. It feels like a secret handshake. It's a warm, fuzzy feeling of belonging. But have you ever stopped to think about what you're actually doing? That shared laugh isn't just pulling you and your friend closer together. It's actively pushing someone else away. Every inside joke creates an invisible wall, and the laughter is the mortar that holds the bricks together. Laughter is one of the most powerful tools for social policing. It defines the in-group and mercilessly mocks the out-group. When we laugh with people, our brains release oxytocin, the hormone responsible for social bonding. It's a chemical reward for agreeing with your tribe. You're all seeing the world the same way, and that feels good. But the dark side of this is that the strongest bonds are often forged by sharing a common enemy. Laughter becomes the weapon of choice. Think about high school cliques. The cool kids don't just sit around complimenting each other. They cement their status by laughing at the kids who wear the wrong clothes or like the wrong music. Their laughter isn't about joy, it's about enforcement. It's a nonviolent, yet devastatingly effective way to say, you are not one of us, you are less. This goes far beyond the schoolyard. Political cartoonists have used this for centuries. When Thomas Nast drew caricatures of the corrupt politician Boss Tweed in the 1870s, the laughter from the public wasn't just simple amusement. It was a political act. It unified people against a common foe and, crucially, it ridiculed him. The laughter was a way of stripping him of his power and authority, turning him from a feared figure into a laughable buffoon. So the next time you share an inside joke, pay attention to that feeling. It's not just camaraderie. It's a tiny, pleasant-sounding act of social warfare. It's the sound of you and your allies building a fortress and laughing at the people that left outside the walls. You're at a funeral. It's quiet, it's somber, and everyone is trying very hard to be respectful. The eulogy begins, and the speaker, overcome with emotion, accidentally lets out a small, unfortunate squeak of flatulence. A wave of horror washes over the room. And then, you feel it. A terrible, unstoppable force bubbling up from your chest. You bite your lip, you stare at the floor, you try to think of the saddest thing you can imagine. But it's no use. A choked, strangled giggle escapes. You are officially the worst person in the world. But what if that laugh wasn't a sign of your moral failing? What if it was a neurological inevitability? Welcome to the relief theory of humor. This idea proposes that laughter is often a physical mechanism for releasing pent-up nervous energy. Your brain spends most of its time trying to predict what's going to happen next based on established patterns or schemas. A funeral has a very strong, serious schema. A high-stakes exam room has a silent, tense schema. When something happens that completely shatters that expected pattern, an event psychologists call an incongruity, your brain has a momentary meltdown. It's built up all this energy to deal with a tense or solemn situation. And suddenly that tension is proven to be absurd. The energy has to go somewhere. Laughter in this context is the emergency exhaust port. It's a physical, almost violent, expulsion of stored up psychological tension. That's why the most intense laughter often comes in the most inappropriate situations. The silence of the library, the gravity of a courtroom, the hushed reverence of a church, these are all environments that build up a huge amount of social and nervous pressure. Any small thing that breaks that pattern, like a phone going off with a ridiculous ringtone, doesn't just seem funny, it feels like a lifesaver. The laughter that erupts isn't really about the ringtone itself. It's a collective, cathartic scream of relief from the crushing weight of having to be serious and quiet. So no, you're not a sociopath for giggling at a funeral. You're just a victim of your own brain's shoddy wiring, desperately trying to vent steam before the whole system overheats and explodes. Listen closely the next time you're in a meeting at work. Pay attention to not just who laughs, but how they laugh. You'll probably notice that the boss, the person with the most status, has a very different laugh from the new intern. The boss's laugh might be a loud, deep, confident ha that takes up space and commands attention. The intern's laugh, especially when the boss tells a joke, is likely to be a higher-pitched, quicker, more deferential hey. This isn't a coincidence. It's a subconscious broadcast of the social hierarchy. Your laugh is, quite literally, a vocal display of your power, or your lack thereof. Neuroscientist and laughter expert Robert Praveen conducted studies where he listened to recordings of regular conversations and analyzed the laughter. He found something fascinating. The person speaking is far more likely to laugh than the person listening. Even more telling, the dominant individual in the group laughs the most and the loudest. Laughter, in this sense, isn't primarily a reaction to humor. It's a tool of punctuation, a way for the speaker to say, I am in control of this conversation. I am so at ease with my own status that I can afford to laugh at my own statements. It's the human equivalent of a silverback gorilla casually lounging in the best spot while the other gorillas watch him intently. The big booming laugh is a sonic chest thump. On the flip side, the laughter of subordinates is an act of appeasement. When the intern laughs at the boss's terrible joke, it's a social signal that says, I recognize your higher status. I agree with your assessment of what is funny. I am not a threat to you. They are, through laughter, greasing the social wheels and reinforcing the existing power structure. Men often use deeper, louder laughs to signal dominance, while both men and women will adopt higher-pitched, more submissive laughs when speaking to someone they perceive as having more authority. So that chorus of laughter after your manager tells a dud of a joke isn't a sign of their comedic genius. It's the sound of a finely tuned social engine at work, with every chuckle and guffaw playing its part in a complex and aggressive negotiation for status. In pop culture, the Joker's laugh is the ultimate symbol of terrifying insanity. It's a laugh disconnected from joy, a chilling sound that signals pain and chaos. It's easy to dismiss this as comic book fantasy, but a version of this horror is very real. Imagine this. You've just received some terrible news. You're trying to process grief, to express the profound sadness you feel welling up inside you. You open your mouth to speak, to cry, to connect with a loved one, but instead, an uncontrollable, booming laugh comes out. The more you try to stop it, the harder it gets. Your face is contorted in the shape of glee, while your mind is screaming in agony. This isn't fiction. This is a real neurological condition called pseudobulbar affect, or PBA. PBA is a tragic and bizarre neurological disorder that can occur after a stroke, a traumatic brain injury, or in people with conditions like ALS or multiple sclerosis. It's a literal disconnect between emotion and expression. The patient feels the correct emotion internally, sadness, anger, frustration, but the brain sends the wrong signal to the muscles of the face and diaphragm. The wiring that connects the feeling part of your brain, the cerebrum, to the part that helps execute actions, the cerebellum, gets damaged. The result is that the physical act of laughter becomes completely untethered from the feeling of happiness. It becomes an involuntary reflex, like a sneeze or a hiccup. The aggression here is deeply personal and cruel. It's your own body turning against your mind. The laughter isn't aimed at anyone, but it assaults the sufferer's own dignity. Patients with PBA report feeling immense shame and social isolation. Their most intimate emotional moments are hijacked by a laugh that feels alien and mocking. They might be at a funeral, trying to grieve, and suddenly burst out laughing, causing horrified looks from everyone around them. It's a condition that turns the universal signal of joy into a personal prison, a bodily betrayal that forces you to perform happiness at the moments you feel it least. It's a haunting reminder that laughter is, at its core, a complex physical program, and sometimes that program can become a virus. You've been caught. Maybe it's a small white lie, or maybe it's something more serious. Your friend, your partner, your boss looks you in the eye and asks a direct, piercing question that you absolutely cannot answer truthfully. Your heart rate spikes. Your mind scrambles for an exit. What's your move? You could stammer, you could look away, or you could deploy one of the oldest and most effective deflection tactics known to humankind. You laugh. Not a big, genuine laugh, but a short, sharp, dismissive one. A ha-ah that carries the weight of his dozen unsaid things. This isn't an expression of humor. This is psychological warfare disguised as a chuckle. The deflection laugh is a sophisticated, multi-pronged attack. First and foremost, it's a way to buy time. Laughter is a distracting, disruptive sound. It breaks the tension and gives the liar a precious few seconds to concoct a better story. While the questioner is momentarily thrown off balance by the unexpected reaction, the liar's brain is working overtime. Second, the laugh is an act of profound belittling. It implicitly communicates that the question itself is absurd, stupid, and not worthy of a serious response. It attacks the credibility of the person asking, shifting the focus from the potential lie to their supposed foolishness for even suggesting it. Finally, and most cunningly, it's an attempt to reframe the social dynamic. Think of a politician at a press conference asked about a scandal. They laugh and say, "That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard." They are using that laugh as an invitation to the rest of the audience. They're trying to create a new in-group that sees the journalist as a hysterical outsider. It's a power play. The laugh says, "I am so unthreatened by this accusation that I find it amusing." It's an auditory smokescreen, a puff of contemptuous noise designed to obscure the truth and poison the well. So when you see someone respond to a direct accusation with a laugh, be wary. They aren't being lighthearted. They're using the sound of joy as a weapon to signal disrespect, dodge accountability, and tell a lie without moving their lips. We've been dancing around the dark edges of laughter, seeing it as a tool for exclusion, superiority, and deception. But now we have to look directly into the abyss. Picture a medieval town square. A convicted criminal is locked in the stocks, on display for public humiliation. The crowd isn't just watching, they are an active part of the punishment. They are jeering, throwing rotten vegetables, and most importantly, they are laughing. This isn't a nervous giggle or a laugh of relief. It is a deep, cruel, gleeful roar. This is laughter at its most terrifying, as an instrument of pure, unadulterated cruelty. Psychologists have a term for the joy derived from laughing at others: catagalasticism. It's distinct from simple superiority theory. A person laughing at someone slipping on ice feels a fleeting sense of being better. A true catagalasticist, however, actively seeks out opportunities to mock others and feels a profound, sustained pleasure from their humiliation. They don't just feel superior, they delight in the other person's inferiority. The laughter of that medieval crowd wasn't just a byproduct of the punishment, it was the punishment. It was a collective act of psychological violence that stripped the victim of their humanity long before the executioner ever lifted his axe. The laughter said, "You are no longer a person and you are a joke. Your suffering is our festival." This form of laughter is the ultimate expression of the in-group, out-group dynamic we talked about. By collectively laughing at the condemned, the community violently affirms its own righteousness and purges the other from its ranks. The person being mocked is completely dehumanized, turned into an object for the tribe's amusement and contempt. It reveals the final chilling truth about this supposedly joyful noise. Laughter itself is morally neutral. It's a biological function, a baring of the teeth and a rhythmic exhalation of air. It's a tool. It can be used to build friendships, to signal play, to bond a group together in shared delight. Or it can be used to shatter a person's spirit, to enforce a brutal hierarchy, and to serve as the gleeful soundtrack to human suffering. The only thing that separates a warm chuckle from a cruel cackle is the intention lurking behind it. So there you have it, more proof that your brain is actively trying to trick you. If you want to find out what other shenanigans it's up to, make sure you're subscribed for the next video.